Aha! It's not just making a fun, but we're making printing lively. Yeah, you got an engineer and he's also a rapper. I'm here with this, bringing you the at the era, at the Kanye. You can simply call me, yeah. AKA DKC, I'm a trained digital service engineer, and it's still a service. Stand by to give support, making your warranty valid. Please your call, I respond. Full back support, you got your printing on stop with a standard support. You got zero downtime. I got your operator trained, qualified with full detail. In the printing world today, digital printing is the way. Just a click and command, you got it done with no delay. Don't keep your client longer waiting. The print is set and it's ready to get a last man. How do you print your label? Digital printing make it easy with flexibility. You don't need to stand still, cause the world is evolving. With the digital printing, it's full of possibility. If you want a quality, you shouldn't compromise it. Ain't no any other option than to go with digital.
Yo, I'm gonna be bringing to you the moderator, Mojisola Basharon, and she's gonna be shedding more light in the blind spot in label printing. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Hade. That is my engineer with a swag. Driving is kind of interesting. As a baby driver, I was driving one day. I saw a pool of water ahead. Getting to the place, it is just a mirage. Another experience I had, I was driving and suddenly a horn like that of a locomotive train filled the air. Looking into my side mirror, I found nothing. Then milliseconds later, a bike zoomed past. Chai, the Okada was actually on my blind spot. That day, my guy in the other room gave me detailed lecture of what blind spot is all about. Meanwhile, many thanks to Lagos State government for the ban on Okada on our expressway. Eko ni baje o. Let's leave my driving experience and talk about today's event, the blind spot in label printing. I'm sure you're wondering, what has blind spot got to do with label printing? Before we go into the printing driving journey, let's quickly define what blind spot it's all about. According to Longman Dictionary, blind spot is that part of the road you don't see while driving. As drivers, we all understand what we experience on the road. Are there really blind spots in label printing? Let's look at the definition of label. Label is the cloth we wear for a product to make it attractive to the buyers, to distinguish it, to give it a brand attention or recognition, to pass information to the users who want to use the product. Labels are used in a lot of sectors. The food and beverages, pharmaceutical, oil and gas, chemical industry, cosmetic industry, and a wide range of household products. Wherever labels are used, the intention is to create uniqueness for the product. Are there label printers in the house? I mean the real label printers. In any case, let us look at how many of you print your labels.
It is very understandable that many may want to print their labels on offset presses, being one of the oldest forms of printing. The operators of these presses have mastered the use to print almost impossible things. But the disadvantage is that professional labels are print in roll, but the offset press is sheet-fed. As a workaround, the operators will print on sticker paper, laminate them to secure against wetness and scratches, and use a flat die cutting machine to plot out the shape of the labels. Apart from this not being the professionally acceptable format, the offset inks are not Food and Drug Administration FDA approved. Perhaps using those kinds of labels for products that come in contact with the mouth might be dangerous to human health, even if we decide to ignore the inconsistency in colors or the not so professionally finished jobs. Thanks, but no thanks to the old dyeing cutting machines around town. The new trend today is to buy a large format machine with plotting capabilities, which is popularly known as print and cut. This is quite affordable and easy to set up, although they mostly run with eco-solvent inks, which are environmentally friendly and actually biodegradable. Still, the issue of how safe these inks are when in contact with food is very debatable. Flexo and gravure printing, on the other hand, is a professional way of printing labels, but it is ideal only for those printing large volumes, possibly running into tens of millions. As a web press, the use of self-adhesive materials like PP, PE, PET, BOPP, or transparent are loaded and impression is run at a super high speed. To get the best out of these presses, they come installed in multiple colors of 8, 10, or even higher. This explains the super high cost of investment and the reason why those in this sector are few. The operators of this monster of a machine actually don't lack jobs. The present reality, however, is that there are lots of small businesses who want their labels done professionally. These categories are not satisfied with the quality of the typical offset presses when used in printing labels in sheet. They also are not happy that print and cut labels cannot be in rows, usable on their individual label applicator. One will think that the Flexo printer will then be their friend, but they don't have enough volume to venture into printing so much. Neither do they have the capacity to store up unused labels. This category of clients want to be as flexible as possible to accommodate their creative campaigns, which are aimed at ensuring they grow their volumes. In the meantime, they need to get out of the blind spot to see and embrace a new revolutionary technique: the entry-level digital label printer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Coca-Cola was the company that did show the world that the gap between conventional label printing and that of digital are closing up. I am sure you remember the Share a Coke campaign. So digital label printing volume are growing to some good industrial volume. To achieve those volume, you need a Zycon machine. For instance, Zycon 3030 is the entry level with a speed of almost 10 linear meters per minute, or the 3300 for double the speed, or the Cheetah, which is the fastest digital label press in town with a speed of 30 linear meters per minute. They are toner-based digital presses. The advantage is its instant drying capability due to its fusing method, food safety, and computability with wide range of substrates. Zycon also recognizes the blind spot of the inkjet-based label press. The PX3000 is currently doing well to meet the needs for durability, scratch resistance, cost effectiveness, and speed. This machine runs at a speed of 50 linear meters per minute. These are still high-end equipment, and its high cost of ownership cannot be played down. But today, I have come to show a live demo, in my opinion, on the best entry-level, affordable, fast, and reliable Affinio series. 2020 has finishing to go with. Get out of your blind spot and come with me. This is Affinio L701, one of the range of Affinio label presses. It's a digital label press that prints at a speed of 12 meters per minute. The print dries out immediately it comes out. With this printer, you have durable quality print. And for the professional print production, it is a roll-to-roll digital press. So from your prints, you move to finishing, where proper die cutting is done. Affinio label presses are low-cost ink consumption press. They don't need much space to put it. It's a small footprint. The prints are quality. For the Affinio L901, it has a water shield, which means it protects it from water, and that means the beauty and cosmetic line can actually use print from that line. From the printer, it's moved to the digital press. How perfect print, it's about the finishing. This is DLF 220X with the option of laminate. That means you can laminate your prints. It's using a plotter, which enables you to die cut whatsoever shape. Very flexible. You can also remove the mattress. So at the end of the die cutting, what you have is a finished label. It is a matter of just remove and stick. Are you looking for a lucrative business that is tied to lifestyle or trend? Are you a small or medium scale manufacturer that wants to print his label in-house? Are you one that is frustrated with the low quality label print out there? Are you one that wants a print on demand? Are you a printer that wants a perfect print with a quality finishing? You probably has been in the blind spot. Now you can see. Affinia range of label printers is the way to go. It's been a long day, and I am sure this is the time you've been waiting for, the question and answer section. But I want you to relax, pen down your questions so that you won't forget, while we go on a short commercial break. Thank you.
Fellow Nigerians, it's a time we have to take responsibility because life is governed by principle. And once we understand the principles, there is so much that we can do with it and build upon. As it is, the current pandemic has taught us a few lessons. And one of the lessons is that we need to take the bull by the horn. So my fantastic team and I have decided, with your permission, to launch what we call Technology Global Manufacturing. This will help us manufacture printing equipment here in Nigeria. We already have VESA, as you know, and VESA is for screen printers who do not want to expose using the sunlight. This initiative is supposed to also help us, especially with the working from home principle that we have now. With your permission, let us launch what is called the new Technology Global Manufacturing. Watch out for it.
Black drivers is the same, but in label printing, it comes with different perspective to individual professionals. With me, discuss this blind spot in label printing are three gentlemen, two Oyinbos and one black man. The Oyinbos simply means people with white skin. So Joe, just understand that calling you Oyinbo means you are someone with a white. These people have years of experience and knowledge in the printing sector. My first guest is Joe Collins. Joe is a man with an eye for engineering solution in digital printing. He works for Affinia Labels. He will be opening our eyes to the in label printing from the UK perspective. My second guest will be Patrick Peters. With over 30 years in graphic business, he has vast knowledge in large format, digital label, graphic art business, and what have you. For Zycon, he will be telling us his perspective from the Europe point of view. And my third guest is Akin Oduwole, the MD of Technology Global Services Limited, a very world-traveled and exposed individual that has a niche for himself in the technical printing sector in Nigeria. He has nose for pioneering and innovation. He is someone we all know. He changed the face of newspaper printing in Nigeria. He introduced the chemistry-free technology in this part of the world. Are you ready to learn and relearn? Because I am so much ready. Please join me as I welcome Joe Collins. So quickly introduce himself and in 4 minutes, tell us his perspective on what blind spots in label printing is all about. Hello, Joe.
Hi, good morning. Thank you.
Good morning.
So yeah, the blind spot is something that has been always in my mind. You know, Affinia's mission is really focused on the blind spot. Our mission is to provide solutions for those customers in the blind spot. We're bringing a disruptive technology to the market, which gives the owner, gives the user the tools to move out of the blind spot and to grow their business success. You know, your video really explains the gap in the market really well. So thanks for the great explanation. I've been with Affinia for years. So the blind spot has been part of my day-to-day business since then, but especially since starting in the digital label market 7 years ago. Blind spot was very different. You know, it was a much smaller amount of customers who didn't really know what was possible. So when we started our first product 7 years ago, it was the L801 printer, and it was tough. You know, we were changing a lot of people's perceptions about the possibilities and the of our digital label products. But since then, it's gone from strength to strength. We're now adding 9 or 10 new printers to our product range, various different finishing models, the DLF 220S, as shown in your video. I think we have now 5 or 6 different finishers. So yeah, the growth of products is really a great sign of the growth of the growth of the amount of customers in the blind spot. The video that you showed, Moji, was the L701 and the DLF 220S. You covered some great benefits of those systems. But in my opinion, Affinia's strength, wide range of solutions that we have, you know, that combination of 9 or 10 printers and 5 or 6 finishing systems. We have solutions starting from $1,300 way up to $60,000. You know, we can cover a wide range of industries, customer sizes, be it brand owners or label printing. We have it covered. That's really our mission here. We put a big focus on the ease of use. You know, if we're talking about brand owners who aren't coming from a printing background, that's no problem at all. Our products are designed for non-print professionals to pick them up easily and begin printing with ease. That's really where our partnership comes in.
Thank you very much, Joe. Thank you very, very much.
No problem.
Before I introduce the second guest, please know that you can send your questions to the chat room. I want us to have a lot of questions for these men so that they can actually help us to show some things that we are confused about or things that we want to learn more on. My second guest is Patrick Peters. Patrick, good morning.
Good morning.
In 4 minutes, I would like you to introduce yourself and let us have your view on the blind spots in labor.
Okay. Thank you, Moji. Thank you for allowing me to express Xicon's view on digital printing in the Nigerian label market. I'm Patrick Pitors. I've been in the graphical business for the past 30 years, and about 20 years in the large format business, working for brands like Gandhi Innovations and Noor. And like 11 years ago, I joined Xicon, going to digital printing. Xicon is always been the pioneer of digital label printing. We actually started to first digital printers in the 90s, in 91 to be exact, and that gives us a big edge on a lot of other manufacturers. We have the experience and the knowledge, not only in printing, but also on the front end side of the business. And talking about the blind spot, it's actually case, because when I started with Xicon 11 years ago, digital was coming, but it was not that popular. There were people starting this. Most of them said, yeah, I will keep on working with my Flexo machine or with my offset machine. So it was tough in the beginning to understand that the world was changing and that more and more things were going digitally. Now, the past years, I know, and I think most of you are national shows. I see a lot of you at Label Expos or at Drupas and everything. And if you've seen the past Label Expos, unfortunately, Drupa didn't go on, but even on the past Drupa in 2016, you see more and more every manufacturer is coming with his digital solution on. So digital is coming, and it's coming everywhere. It gives a lot of advantages, and Moji, you already told us what the biggest. But let me repeat them. Digital offers you an easy way of dealing with your small business, your small runs and everything. It gives turnaround time. It offers you flexibility on your variable data, and think about variable data. Think about your printing on your labels. Think about the possibilities you have behind the barcodes, the information you can stick in those barcodes. This is give you a advantage that Flexo or Offset cannot give you. It also reduces your stocks tremendously. So more and more people start realizing that digital really will help their business, and that's what we've seen the past shows. Everyone is turning digital. Talking about Xicon, a little products, we offer a full range of digital printers in the dry toner, but also in the inkjet section. So we cover the best of both worlds. We can offer whatever needs are. Talking about toner and inkjet, you will see that that toner-based machines are of a much higher quality printing. So with toner-based printing about 1200 dpi, where inkjet-based you're printing 600 dpi. We offer a very, very high productivity on the toner, full rotary printing system, and where the speed is not dependent on the amount of colors you're printing. So you can print 4, will not lose any speed. Like I said, very high productivity, no priming needed on the toner-based machines. So you can use easily your Flexo materials without having to prime the material. We offer, obviously, on the films, white is very important. We offer a very, very good white where the opacity with one pass is perfect. Okay, like Moji said, in digital printing or in the future, a color more and more important. Well, Xicon with its dry toner has a FDA regulation approval, so you're safe for direct and with food, with the labels you print on a Xicon toner machine. We offer, because of our 30 years experience, we offer a professional color management, expert consults, and we have an excellent service with Technology Global in Nigeria. But maybe the most important, because printing is one part of the job, but a very important part also is preparing the file to be printed. And Xicon, with its 30 years experience, has gained a lot of information from its customers and made the state-of-the-art software, which allows you to easily build on to print more economic.
Hello, Patrick. Thank you
Yes.
very much for that information.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to introduce the third guest, Akin Oduwole. Akin Oduwole, please, can you tell us your perspective on blind spots and label printing concerning this economy?
Right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. I would like to start from the area of what we're currently going through, the pandemic, which is in its second stage as we speak. We are out of shock. When we had an idea what to expect with the pandemic, the natural thing to do at that point in time was to all run inside and spread the doom story. Second stage that we're in, we have a bit more information. We are beginning to see that it is not totally a doom story. So I know that companies are closing up. I know that people are losing their job. But at the same time, we see that some creativity is coming out of that situation, because some people are now beginning to think we need to do something locally to meet our daily needs. So people are beginning to create products, and this product will definitely need labels. So at the end of the day, we see that we are converting the doom story to some story of boom. We are in the need to tie our printing business to trends and lifestyle. And as printers, we need to position ourselves to complete the value chain of the business that are doing well pandemic period. You know, as it is, the sector is divided by technology. For instance, printing of label done using the offset method, using the flexographic method, using the rotogravure, using the screen, or as it is today, the digital is becoming very popular. We can also define it by type. Are we talking about wet glue labels used in alcoholic drinks? Are we talking about pressure sensitive, adhesive labels, or even the linearless labels? And we're beginning to see that there is a big market for especially the FMCGs, the fast consumable goods. So this is a market that is valued at $39.17 billion as at 2019. To me, it is time you stop depending on your side mirror alone. It's time to now use our sense organs. What can you smell, hear, and what can your heart feel, so that we can begin to position our business in such a way that we'll begin to make profit from the things that are tied to trends and lifestyle. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Akin Oduwole. I'm sure all my guests really want to pour out, their perspective on what blind spots and digital label it's all about. But then the participants really want to ask a lot of questions. I can see a lot of questions coming in, and we don't seem to have much time online. But anyway, let's start an answer section. I'm sure we all need answers to various questions that we've been sending in. My first question is, what is the durability of the label in terms of exposure to sunlight or any kind of weather on a daily basis, with particular reference to labels on products that would be displayed out store? This is Nigeria, and we have a lot of people selling in the market, open place, and the issue of me sticking my label on a product, I don't back to the market and realize by the next day the label is washed off. So this question is going to Patrick Peters. Pardon me. What is the durability of the label in terms of exposure to any kind of weather, most especially sunlight?
Yeah, well, toner and also inkjet-based machines have a very, very high quality on toner and ink. So I would say if you print a machine, you are sure that the first year your label will be perfect. After 1 year being in the sunlight and being aggressive, obviously like everything else, it will start to deteriorate a little bit. But let's say that we are in the consuming market, especially for the food labels. Well, they don't have to last more than 1 year, as the product will not last more than a year. In the more durable business, obviously, people tend to put a varnish on top of it, where then it's not that much exposed to the sunlight. So, but we're very clear that first year you will not have any problems with your products.
Okay. All right, thank you, Patrick. This is a kind of reassurance that when you put out in the open, you show that in the next 6 months, 1 year, there is nothing like a label wearing out. And for the producing firms, we don't. Our products should just be on the shelf, sitting there without being sold for a year. So I guess that has actually answered that question. The second one will be for Joe. Does this DLF 2020 Hz dichotomy machine use dichotomy blade cutter, or it is done digital? Hello, Joe.
You have to unmute him.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Pat. Yeah, so the DLF 220S is a digital system, but it is using a knife. So the technology is quite well established. You mentioned it in emoji, the print and cut type of wide format solution. So it's a similar cutting technology. It's actually using a Japanese system from Graphtec. Well, they're widely available in your region. This is digitally die cutting with a knife. It's a consumable part which has to be replaced after a certain amount of linear meters, but it's quite a low cost consumable part. It gives you complete flexibility. You know, we're not talking about a whole new die which may cost hundreds of dollars. We're talking about a low cost item which has a reasonably long life.
Okay, thank you very much, Joe. I have another question from Amos, Grace Amos. And the question is, what is the best label printer for S that works from home, that prints less than 100 labels in a month? Akin Odewale, I would like you to answer this question for us.
Okay, thank you. The issue of printing label is by segments. And I think that you addressed that in the opening. For instance, today, we see a lot of people printing labels using print and cut machines or printing labels using offset machines. My question is always, what exactly do you want to use the labels for? What is the application? So if we know what the application is, then it's easy to know which machine to recommend. And I will give an example. If majority of your customers are printing bottled drinks that will go into the refrigerator, a totally different kind of printing, because you want a printing where once it freezes and unfreezes, nothing happens to the glue, nothing happens to the print or to the material itself. Now you need to understand that label printing comprises of a few components. Apart from the equipment, you need to know that the material is label stock with glue in between and a liner and a back liner. So these materials depends on what application you want to run. For instance, for flexibility, if it's a product that will go on a container that has a funny shape, then there is a need to say, let us use a BOPP material because that's a bit more flexible than all the other material. But with all said, I will say that for anyone who wants to start small, it is always good. I like the idea of the inkjet tabletop machines to start with. So with an Affinia L901 with water shield, for instance, you can also be able to take care of all those labels that will go inside the refrigerator. So if you start with that and you handle the volume, some will say, I would rather have 2 machines to increase my volume. But I will say at some point, once you build the volume, then you need to now begin to think about some industrial level machines like the Zycon.
Thank you. Thank you, Akin Odewale. This will actually lead us to the next question, which reads, this is from Elijah Adewale. The question is, what is the minimum capital required for investment? I would like the 3 guests to actually take this because it's from the 3 different perspectives. These are to do with what kind of investments this person is looking for. But in a few minutes, I would like Patrick Peters, please, quickly help us to answer that question. Hello, Patrick.
Yeah, I'm here.
With me.
Yeah.
What is the minimum capital required for investment in terms of Zycon?
Very interesting. I think Akin already answered it a little bit. I think, and Joe will agree to that. I think global has 2 vendors of digital printers. One a little bit on the entry level or the entry level side of the market, more than one, Zycon being on the industrial level side of the market. So both, of course, have their advantages, their disadvantages. Well, advantages that start and you have very, very short runs and your capacity is not that much. And definitely don't get a Zycon printer because it will not, it will be too expensive. Okay. But if you have a couple of, you're doing flexo, you're doing offset, you lay out your labels, and but you see that your stock of short runs is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, then it's about time to start thinking about the Zycon printing. Talking about budgets, I would say the entry-level market, where Affinia also plays his role, is between and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's up to 100,000 euros, I would say, where Zycon, the entry-level machines, they start at 200,000 euros, and it goes up. It's expensive. Most productive machines, being at 30 and 50 meters an hour, it goes up to 500,000, 600,000 euros. So there's a little bit of difference. But for that amount of money, you got a very industrial printer that obviously requires volume. And with volume, I would say that you would be needing at least 15,000 legal meters a month to make a Zycon printer cost effective.
All right, thank you. From that, what Patrick is trying to say is the entry level depend on what quantity you're talking about. For Zycon, they have their entry level. For Affinia, the entry level of Affinia is quite different from Zycon, depending on what your volume is all about. Joe, I would like you to just quickly, chip in a word or 2 question as well, so that these participants can actually have a proper view of what we are talking about concerning capital requirements for him.
Yeah,
Hello,
I agree.
Joe.
Hi, Moji. I agree with Patrick and yourself. Yeah, the machines, the entry-level machines on both brands are very different. But yeah, in terms of, a starting brand who's looking for the lowest capital investment, our entry-level model is the L301 printer, which is HP inkjet technology. We've had big success with it in many different markets. And yeah, in terms of dollars, the list price is $100, but of course this doesn't include the imports and the transports. So maybe it's best if I hand over to Akin to give a more accurate estimation.
All right, thank you, Dolly. You had a businessman that actually have the link to this to investment kind of printer. The entry level Icon and the entry level of Aphinia. So as a Nigerian and knowing what our economy is, what would you advise? What kind of investments should this person be looking at?
Thank you very much, Muji. Very interesting question. But as I said earlier, entry level is very relative. Now, someone who has not been printing business at all would not just jump on a 300,000 euro equipment without the volumes. Do that, you will be losing money. So I will say that with a $20 to $25,000 equipment from Kenya, you can start and then build your volume to the level where you can then afford to go for a machine that is in the upper range. Entry level can also be for someone who is already into the conventional printing market. So you've got the flexo or gravure equipment, but you're beginning to lose some mass because some customers demand flexibility, some customers demand smaller volumes, and because you have the big customers and they're asking you for this month to lose their small businesses, then you think that, oh, I need a machine to meet this need. That kind of a machine would definitely be a digital machine. So entry level for that kind of also someone who has been into label printing. So entry level would definitely be like a Zycon machine because he has the volumes already and he just wants to be able to capture some markets where he's not playing in. So it's quite relative. Personally, I would say I need a bit more information to understand what you mean by entry level. Entry level can also be the brand owner. I produce, the printers are giving me headache, and I want to be able to print my own labels and have control over my own printing. At that level, also talking entry level. So in that case, you have only one label. Then I will say go for the cheapest of all the machine, 7,000 euro equipment, where you can have the machine and use pre-printed labels. I mean pre-cut labels. So the labels are already cut into your shape, and then you can print on it, and then you go. You don't. It's already done. And
thank you, Akin Oduwole, for that explicit explanation. I have another question for. This is from Grace Amos. I saw an Aphinia label printer that also does packaging. Is that one available? Because I'm producing organic soap and body cream. What machine can help me to print label and package? This person is into a full production line. He wants to do the label as well as the package that the product label will go into. And exactly what kind of machine? Is it that there is one machine that can do both, or this person have to invest in different equipment to be able to achieve this?
We do have a new system. Yeah, we have a new system called the FP230, and this is with the purpose of printing flexible. So yeah, definitely spices, body creams, soaps. You know, flexible packaging. I'm talking about sachets, that kind of thing. Powder bags. This can all be produced now on the FP230, and this is a brand new product for Aphinia, and it's the world's first desktop flexible packaging press. And I'm really interested in this. You know, the innovation in his mind is really interested in what it can bring to the industry and to the market. And yeah, it's a dual purpose. So you can print the rolls of flexible packaging, but then you can also print rolls of pre-cut labels. So it's possible to do both types on the one machine. Yeah, it's a great industry to be in with the spices and the cosmetic creams. So yeah, it sounds like the SPQ30 could be a good fit.
Thank you very much, Joe. I hope this participant, I hope the question has been answered. There is another question that was specified for Mr. Udiwale, but I think the question is answered already. That is a question for Kolako Abiodun. It's talking about minimum capital entry level. That question was answered some few minutes ago. There is a question from Mrs. Olushola Babatunde, which reads, good morning, everyone. I am a garment manufacturer. I want to ask about garments label. Mr. Uduwale, can you please help us with that?
Yeah, I am not 100% sure if Joe knows about this, but in the beginning of our relationship, we got a L501 for the demo room. And while we were trying a lot of things out, we discovered that that machine can actually print clothing labels. So the clothing labels will come as clothing, satin clothing, self-adhesive, and the glue will only be exposed after you heat press it. So we print on that and use it for clothing labels. It's totally different from the woven ones, and it's totally different from the prints that we have. But it works. We tried it, and we sold the idea to a few customers, and that can actually work. Mrs. Olushola, Mrs. Babatunde, I've taken your details, and we will meet after the service.
Okay, thank you, Akin Uduwale. The question we have is, sorry, please, I need to get these questions out. What is the after-sales service, support service for this equipment? Akin Uduwale, this will be directed to you as well. Is there provision for training, maintenance, and servicing of these equipments?
Yeah, I think normally we do not sell equipment that factory trained engineers for. As a rule, every equipment must be we must have someone who can maintain it. And I think that as a company, global strength, that's our strength as a company, because we know that you can only sell more if you are able to maintain and keep the machine running. So yes, we've got service trained engineers, we've got stock of spare parts, and we've got stock of consumables. So everything that will make life easy for you, so you can just keep money, we will provide the support. Our job is to provide you the support anytime, any day.
Thank you. What is the advantages of digital label print? Patrick, can you please help to answer that?
Yeah, I think it's been said already by Joe, by myself, but I'll repeat it quickly. So it's digital printing, whether it's entry level with Affinia or with Xicon, it's all about small runs. It's about variable data. It's about fast turnaround times. Okay, so it's a job in at 10 o'clock, and you can print it 1 hour or 2 hours later. It's also about reducing stocks. It's about being able to print several labels at the same time, which have different colors, different texts. So that's about it in a nutshell. But I think it has been said, which you don't have with Flexo or Offset. There it takes time to print your labels. You need much more volume. You see Flexo, at the end of the year, people tend to have a lot of stock, which they can't sell. So there's a lot of lost there, which you don't have in digital labels. There, if you have to print 100 labels, you print 100 labels. If you have to print, 100 labels on Affinia, or if you have to print 1,000 or 2,000 labels or even 500 on Hexicon, you can print them. You just print 500 and that's it.
All right, thank you, Patrick. Joe, I have 2-in-1 questions for you. I will need to do this quickly because our time is actually running out. The number one question is, can this knife be purchased locally? The DLF 220, that's number one. Then number 2 question is, can the machine on any kind of label material, or are there specific material for it? So that's a 2-in-1 question. Can the knife for the DLF be purchased locally? And the second one is, do you have some kind of specialized material to be printed on your printers, or it can print on regular substrates in the market? Hello, Joe.
Hi, Moji. So the knife should be locally available. I've not looked in Nigeria yet for the knife, but yeah, I'm quite sure it will be. So I can assist with that with you and the team after this call. On the materials, we're using water-based inks in most cases. Our printers are using water-based inks. So the materials do need absorbent to those water-based inks. There is a wide range of materials now available, but it is different to the offset or the flexo type of materials. I know Akin's been doing lots of work on finding reliable suppliers, low-cost suppliers of these materials. So yeah, it is widely available, and yeah.
All right, thank you, Joe. The next question. Okay, Patrick, can you quickly help us to chip in one concerning the second question, which talks about material? Is it the material they can just get in the market, or does Hexicon print on any kind of specialized material?
Yeah, well, quickly you can print on all materials that you're using with your flexo and offset. So whether it's self-adhesive labels or bio, PE or PP or PET or folding carton or IML material, it's all possible on Hexicon machine. So the printing is all possible. Various application requires various finishing tools. So there you got to be careful. So I would say, yeah, every material is possible. From films to paper labels, it's all possible on Hexicon machine without having to prime.
Okay, thank you very much, Patrick. Because our time is running out, we'll take a few more questions and we'll continue with this discussion on our social media handle. So not to worry if your question is not answered. You can still reach us on our social media handle, which we're going to call out at the end of this open house section. The next question is, with your experience, when will you advise a client to rather go for conventional label printing as against digital label printing? This will actually to the 3 guests in-house, but I'll start with Patrick. Patrick, can you please quickly help us to say 1 or 2 things about that?
So the question is when to go from conventional.
Yeah, when do you advise for an investor or a client to go from a convention to go for a label printing from digital?
I would say it's time. It's time for everyone to talk thinking digital, because it's coming. Believe me, I'm not saying that conventional printing will go away, but more and more people will print digitally, because there's a complete future of possibilities printing your labels digitally. So when I would say start looking into it and start investigating, the ones who jump in first will be the ones that will last for a long time. Okay, so it's the early adapters into printers that will win the battle in Nigeria. So I would say if you're doing offset printing, if you're doing flexo printing right now, and you have volumes, or you have difficulties printing certain labels because of the variable data, or you have too much stock, think digital, think it's an investment, I know, but in the long run, it will pay off very easily.
All right, thank you very much, Patrick. Joe, over to you. Advise the clients to go from a digital to conventional.
I think the current climate, the pandemic has really made it really clear that the advantages of digital are even more important now. We've seen an increase in sales of certain models like the DLF finishers, because customers no longer want to rely on outsourcing the labels, the outsourcing of production to external companies. They want to be self-sufficient, control of their own demand, and being able to meet the needs of personal campaigns like the Share a Coke, short run minimum order quantity jobs. Yeah, just being able to take control in a climate like this is invaluable. Now's a perfect time to make change.
Thank you very much, Joe. In all, that means the pandemic is not all that bad. There's still some good. This pandemic, it helps us to look inward and look for solution just that is close by. Hakeem Odewole, just a few minutes because we have very small minute left and we'll still have one or two things to talk about. Can you quickly just give a light to that question?
Yeah, I've always said that digital will never replace conventional. That's for sure. So for me, they will always complement each other. So it's a matter of quantities. I have a little quantities, or I want to be more flexible, or I want to be, I want to print little quantities in very variable data. All those cannot be done conventionally, but there's still a big market for the conventional printers. So the Flexo market will still help us print the carrier bags and the labels for and those who still consume high volume. Your cost per print will always be lower when you go conventional for the volume. The challenge is, do you have the money to go for the volume? If you don't, then it's time to think digital. So as I said earlier, the conventional guys are also thinking digital because they're losing out on some markets. And in this kind of economy, you don't want market. So I would say they complement each other.
Thank you very much. Think digital, that's the word for today. It's been a very educative experience. I've actually learned, I've learned a lot of things, and I'm sure you do as well. Patrick, Joe, and Akin, in few words, we're almost coming to today's beautiful section. Can you please just round this up in few seconds? Joe, start with Joe. Joe, please.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. It's been really great. And yeah, from my point of view, there's a bright future between Affinia and Technology Global. Akin's desire to innovate and his technical ability is really a shining light for the future of bringing new technology to Nigeria. The data. So yeah, I think as a result, we can make a difference to a lot of businesses in Nigeria and the surrounding region for the better. Yeah, here's to the future.
Thank you very much, Joe. Remember, we can still continue with this conversation on our Instagram handle at TGlobalNG on Twitter, TGlobalNG, and on Facebook, Technology Global Services Limited. So your questions can still come in even if the section is in a few minutes. Patrick, in concluding, what word do you have for us?
Well, let me conclude by thanking both you, Akin, for a job well done. A very interesting session. I think it is good for the Nigerian market to talk about digital, especially digital label printing, because we already have some digital printing machines in the graphical art industry, but not in the label business. So very interesting for me to join this session and to be part of it. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity. And to end, I would say, think digital, and that's to the whole Nigerian.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Think digital. That is nice. Akinwodewale, the only please, can you help us to conclude? What's your conclusion on this beautiful, educative and informative segment that we have?
Yeah, I think the other two gentlemen are also black in their mind. They might have a white skin, but in their mind they're black. Anyone who thinks about Nigeria and the growth of the business and understands how we think and understand that we're unique people, we cannot be compared with anyone in the world, then they must be black in their mind. I'm speaking for my friends, and I know that they are. But in conclusion, I would say in this business of life, you must have the lever to deliver. It's time. It's time to think differently. And even as the industry drives down the road of endless possibilities, we need to adjust our side mirrors to see the do not see normally. Success in printing business today is in the little things. So the things in our blind spot are the difference, a blissful drive and impending danger. So we need to now come together and forge a way forward for our own economy. Printing will be profitable again, and I remain your plug.
Thank you very much, Akinwodewale. You need to have a lever to deliver. We have a lot of keywords today. It's a pleasant day, and I want to thank everybody, all the participants. I want to thank the production crew. You guys have been so wonderful. It's been a experience with you. The guests, thank you very much for your time. This is one of many that will come. You know, when it comes to open houses, Technology Global actually a name to go with. Thank you very much. Remember, you can still send in your questions to our social media handle at @STGlobal_NG for the Instagram users, at technology at @STGlobalNG for the Twitter, and for my people on Facebook, we're still there very much with Technology Global Services Limited. Thank you very much. I remain your moderator, Mojisola Bashorun. Thank you.